They say there's no moral victories, but I would challenge that. I think that there are games inside of the game, inside of the game, inside of the game. I think there are many different things that you can take from and learn and grow from it, even if it meant that you didn't win the game or a matchup. But I think this is one of those games where this was one of those lessons that will sting and serve this team well. And I think JB Bickerstaff is going to actually uh, really zoom in on this game, break down the film. Rick Carlisle and the Indiana Pacers, he's a master tactician when it comes to X's and O's. And I think to some extent he outcoached JB in this. Um, JB had his guys ready, prepared, but they weren't ready for what Indiana was going to bring at the onset of this game. And they fell behind uh, early and they weren't able to make up the difference. And this is a situation that the Detroit Pistons have found themselves in multiple times. But this game, I believe it offers a little bit something extra to learn from. And when I say extra, I mean there's going to be some nuggets. There's going to be some significant aspects of this game that they can draw from that I think will prepare them to be successful, especially when they get into the play-in tournament. I want to dive into that in this video. But before I do, this video was brought to you by Bridges and Stone's Family and Relationship Care. They say no one changes until the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change. Bridges and Stone's Family and Relationship Care is a space for individuals who are ready to change and challenge the normalcies that have kept them stuck in the same place. Contact Bridges and Stones today for a free consultation and take a step towards your greatest change. The link is in the description box below. Shit, speaking of change, Cade Cunningham. I think I've said this in the Twitter spaces, and other spaces over and over, that Cade Cunningham is going to need to refine his offensive attack or his offensive game. And when I say refine, everybody knows he has a bag. He has an extensive bag. However, the great ones understand what they're doing, when they're doing, and why they're doing it throughout the game. When they're going to go to a certain shot, why they're going to that shot in this situation against this defender. All right. What type of shot is going to serve them best against this type of matchup? These are the things that I think Cade needs to start thinking about, especially in preparation for the play-in tournament. If I'm honest with you, I think they're destined for the play-in. I don't think they overtake Indiana, but I do think they stay around that 7-8 seed spot. And the thing is, most teams don't have the considerable depth that the Indiana Pacers enjoy. They don't have a what's his name, Andrew Nembhard to start off, and then have an Aaron Nesmith and a Ben Shepherd and a Benedict Mathurin and a T.J. McConnell in this deep backcourt guard rotation, and then to come off the bench with guys like Jarris Walker, Obi Toppin, right, Thomas Bryant, on top of having to deal with the load that is Pascal Siakam. I already mentioned Aaron Nesmith, and then Miles Turner. I mean, God, we can get into him in a little bit because nobody expects him to shoot 8 of 11. Nobody. Even if he just gets to 5 of 11, 5 of 10, right, which is still amazing. You take those 9 points away, this Detroit Pistons team has a shot to win it, right? And so it's when I said Rick Carlisle got out coached, it wasn't necessarily indicative of JB Bickerstaff's scheme not being effective. But the part that Cade Cunningham has to learn from that I thought was ineffective is that when he gets pressed by a defender full court, he's got to give up the ball. He's got to let somebody else initiate the offense so they don't get stalled out, so the defense doesn't get to overplay and pressure them, and allows himself to play off the ball. which he's more than capable of doing. Um, I thought that him trying to force the issue against Andrew Nembhard was just foolish. I think if anything, he should have pulled a James Harden. And this is where, and I know people don't like this term, but there's a place and time to fish for fouls. If somebody's going to try to press you 90 something feet, go ahead and get that foul. Give them the stop, start, put your body into him, hook your arm underneath his, uh, put him in jail, get around a screen, get him on your backside, hit the stop. Make him think about something else other than pressuring you, other than preventing you from initiating the offense and getting into your sets. Because that's essentially what happened in this game in that first quarter. They bogged down the offense so severely. It was like they were kind of lost in the sauce, like they didn't know what else to do. Look, if you're going to get played 90 something feet, you have to have secondary offense to say, hey, you know what? Why don't I advance this ball to Jalen Duren at the top of the key and let's run a dribble handoff? Hey, how about let me give it to Asar Thompson and let's get Tobias Harris in the post because it's 4-on-4, right? Let's switch up from trying to get Tim Hardaway Jr. wide open three, even though he knocked a bunch of them down. But you need to get into a flow. And they struggled to get into a flow. Now, this is where there's an opportunity for growth. Because in the playoffs, that's how they are going to try to neutralize Cade Cunningham. If you look at the most effective strategy against Cade Cunningham, has always been when he has had the outlook or the mindset of trying to run offense over trying to be on the attack. And when I say over, I mean if somebody presses him, he's more than capable of just blowing by him, going straight to the rack. He's more than capable of saying, hey, oh, you're going to play me this close? I'm going to give you a little in and out, and I'm straight to the rim. But instead, what happened was that he got bogged down in trying to initiate offense. And what he probably should have just did was either given up the ball or been in attack mode. Now, sure enough, Indiana was probably also hoping for that as well, thinking that, hey, if he goes into attack mode early, he's going to be more fatigued down the stretch, and we can outlast him because we have a deeper team and we score at a high clip, and I think we're going to be able to score him. That's a good strategy. This is where Cade has to learn. This is where JB has to learn. This is where the team has to figure out what else they're going to go to, because when they face the Orlando Magics of the league in the play-in or playoff appearance, when they face a team like the Boston Celtics, when they face a team that has the depth, that has the players who are willing to dedicate themselves to it, when it matters in a 7-game series, that's what he's going to see. And he's got to know exactly what he's going to. Shoot, they've got to know Jalen Duren has to stick around and be like, you know what, let me free my boy up. Let me go hang back here and set a huge screen on this guy. And Cade, use the screens. Rub shoulder to shoulder like they teach you. Don't just let that defender slide in between because you went out wide over that screen. Right? These are the things that he's going to have to pick up on. I think it's a learning lesson that will serve him well moving forward. I expect a big bounce back game from this team. Some of the positives, I love that Tim Hardaway Jr., he seems as confident as ever, not just as a shooter, but as a shot creator, as a shot maker. And it's beautiful to see it. He got to the free throw line, which you're not necessarily banking on. He was able to get into the defense and to the rim, which they were more than happy to do because it meant Cade wasn't shooting. But I will say this, and Jalen Duren, shout out to you. Your perimeter defense was horrible on Miles Turner in terms of containing the shooter, especially on pick and pops. And maybe that's a scheming thing that JB has to really figure out. Of course, there's only maybe 2 centers in the entire league that you're going to have to worry about that with Nikola Jokic and Miles Turner. Everyone else, you're pretty much Gucci. They don't have a 3-point or a center that's going to shoot 11 threes, right? Nikola Vucevic maybe, but the rest of the team isn't good enough, right? All this to say is that the next thing that I want to point out was starting Asar Thompson on Pascal Siakam. Bad move. Bad move. Pascal Siakam is too crafty. He's too quick. He's too skilled. He's too versatile. He's too big to put Asar Thompson on. I think many of Asar's strengths were completely neutralized by facing and having to guard primarily a Pascal Siakam. Pascal was able to use his quickness, his guile, his wit, his craftiness to basically be like, hey, I'm going to get exactly where I want to get on this court. And I'm going to catch you getting too close because let's be honest, Asar is not accustomed to guarding high level bigs. I mean, like not wings. He can guard a big wing, not necessarily a back to the basket scorer. Now, Pascal Siakam is also smart enough to adjust his game to be like, I got a SAR on me. I'm not trying to face up. I'm not trying to go at him and try to take him one on one. I'm going to go ahead and just post him up and put him on my backside. And that's what he did. That's what he did. And it was smart. It was smart. You got him into foul trouble. You got him a lot of ticky tacks. And it was a tough night for him. My suggestion would have been take him off of Pascal. Let Tobias Harris play him straight up and use Asar as a roamer, as a rover, where you can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to reinforce that individual defender. I'm going to be in position to ensure that I am able to dig down on a drive, come from the weak side where you don't see me, and use my speed and quickness to get in on the ball, do a quick double and recover, maybe try to block the shot from the weak side, or at least clear the rebound. And I think that was something else that we saw. Asar really didn't rebound at a high level that we've come to expect from him. I think that also was a part of guarding Pascal Siakam. You know why? Because Asar is 6'7". Pascal is 6'9", close to 6'10". He's been in the league for a minute. He understands what this is. And I know Asar got 7 rebounds, but there was a bunch of rebounds that I just saw Pascal completely seal him on. Didn't even give him a chance. Right? And so these are the things that I think were adjustments that needed to be made. A couple other things, for sure, this team missed Jaden Ivey. And I think that we're going to see this more and more as they face these really good teams, these veteran teams, these teams that have been in the playoffs over and over, that know how to win. You're going to miss having a secondary shot creator, high level, gravity drawing playmaker. You're going to miss him. And you saw it in this game. And I saw people on Twitter were talking about, hey, this team needs to get a shot. Look, hey, chill out. You're playing with house money. You're in the play-in tournament. You're playing great. Don't leverage the future for the moment. People are like, well, we don't have to necessarily leverage the future. We can try to get. Look, you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'd rather just rock with these guys. I'd rather continue to go through the ups and downs, highs and the lows, developing Ron Holland, developing Asar Thompson, giving them expanded roles to see what they can do, because this is pretty much the last developmental year for this team. It's the last one. Next year, it's playoffs. Playoffs or bust. That's literally what next year is going to be. It's no longer going to be about developing. At all. At all. So utilize this season to maximize seeing what these guys can do. Let's let Asar Thompson continue to be a point forward. Let's let him figure out how to facilitate, set guys up, especially when Cade is being guarded 90-something feet. Hey, let's go ahead and see if we can maximize Ron Holland's potential in his rookie year. Let's see what he can do out there. Yeah, he missed a couple of his threes. He missed a couple layups. Okay, it wasn't his best game. Let's see how his bounce back is. Let's see if we can get him some looks closer to the basket. I'm really curious what this team looks like on the other side of the All-Star break. Getting a nice extended break where they're going to have a chance to work on a couple things, practice a little bit more. I think you're going to see a rejuvenated team that's going to come out the gates and it's going to get to that 35 win mark. I really do. But as always, I want to know what you all think of this game. There were some pluses to take away. Like I said, Tim Hardaway Jr. had a really good game. He's playing at probably his, I wouldn't say highest confidence level, but this is the most consistent I've seen him playing to the best of his abilities. 25 points, 0 assists though. Whew, you miss Jaden Ivey, don't you? Because Jaden would have had 25. What about 6, 7, 8 assists? and that would have been a huge difference breaker, a difference maker. Jaden Ivey also does a phenomenal job covering ground on defense, where he can fly around at an open shooter. He can make that rotation. Right, he has that read ability to close out on Miles Turner, and maybe Miles only makes 5 instead of 8 freaking threes out of 11. Right, crazy. Aaron Neesmith comes back and just immediately burns 2 threes on you. Damn, like you really didn't see that coming. Um, all in all, this was a good game. A lot to learn. Marcus Sasser played really well. I thought he was aggressive. Finally, off the bat, looking for his shot early, taking what the defense was giving him, not just hyper focusing on running offense and setting the table. Great job. I thought he got some valuable minutes. Isaiah Stewart, 13 rebounds. He got himself a block. Did a great job. Jalen Duren, we're going to have to figure him out. He cannot guard a stretch big. So that's for the future. But hey, as always, I want to know what you all think. Holler at me about what are your takeaways from this game. Do you think Cade needs to make these adjustments? What do you think about Sar, Ron, JB, Bigstaff, and where the state of the Detroit Pistons is at this point? If you enjoyed the video, smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. And if you stay to the end of this video, hey, shout out to you. Hey, post a basketball in your response. I'd love to know who actually stays to the end. We can have a nice little conversation in the comment section. If you post a basketball, ask me any question you want, and we can go back and forth and talk about it then. All right, holla at y'all next time. Peace.